I was asked in Delaware to go out and try to find a candidate for the United States Senate. I was 28 years old as part of this group of people. And I kept trying to get people who were consequential to get involved, and they didn't want to do it. And Nixon was running that year, was going to be a lead pipe cinch. Republicans were going to win, and I was a Democrat. And, uh, and so I showed up at a Democratic convention, an off-year convention. And I went to make sure that everything was going to be okay. And I would report, I was the kid at the convention. And it was in Dover, Delaware. And after the afternoon session, I went back to the hotel, a typical hotel, a motel where you drive up, you get out of the car, you walk in the door. And I was in there, I was shaving. And I had a towel around me. And I was in the bathroom, which is like 8 by 10. And two beds with the headboards nailed to the wall and a desk nailed to the wall. And all of a sudden I hear bam, 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 this banging on my door. And I thought it was a guy, a great friend named Bob Cunningham, and a guy named Dennis. I thought they were coming to pick me up. I thought I was late. So I went to the door, shaving cream, razor in my hand, towel on, opened the door. And who's standing there but the former governor of the state of Delaware? Swear to God. A former Chief Justice of the state Supreme Court and Rhodes Scholar, and more members of his family were United States Senators than any family in American history. Thirdly, a congressman who had been defeated earlier, a great guy, 5-term congressman, and a guy named Henry Topel, who was the state chairman. And they said, "We're coming in." I said, and I had not met two of them personally. Two I hadn't met. And I'm in a towel, shaving cream on my face. And so I stepped back. I said, "Gentlemen, okay, please come in." I went in the bathroom thinking, I'm going to put something on. I got in and I realized there's nothing to put on. So I wiped the shaving cream off my face and I walked out and I was mortified. And I said, "I'm sorry, gentlemen." I said, "It's okay." And there were two of them, each on the end of each of the two beds that were facing me. And I'm against the desk like this. And this guy, Henry Topel, said, and he was from New York, he said, "Joe, we just had dinner. We were thinking. And you should run for the United States Senate." And I said, "Oh, geez, what's, you know?" I said, "Mr. Chairman," I said, "I'm not old enough." And the then Chief Justice, just retired Chief Justice, of course, said, "Joe, obviously you didn't do very well in law school." I looked at him. He said, "It says you have to be 30 years old to be sworn in, not to be elected. You can be, and you'll turn 30 by the time it's time to be sworn in." And anyway, that was my exposure, no pun intended. And so I go to the event, and I'm riding home with this guy, Bob Cunningham, who was a really bright guy. And I said, "Bob, I don't know, what in God's name am I going to do? This is crazy." And so I'm thinking, who am I going to talk to? True story. And the next morning I get up and I called my professor at the University of Delaware, a guy named Dr. Ingersoll. And I said, "Doctor, can I come down and see you?" And he said, "Of course." I went down and sat with him for a half an hour. I told him what was happening. He just looked at me. He said, "Joe, remember what Plato said." I'm thinking, what the hell did Plato say? But he said, to paraphrase Plato, he said, "The penalty good people pay for not being involved in politics is being governed by people worse than themselves." And he looked at me and said, "Joe, you should run." I said, "But I feel strongly about all these issues, but I got involved in the civil rights movement and the war. But he said, "Joe, you should do it." He had enough confidence in me that he gave me confidence in myself. With a kid with no money, coming from a middle-class family, who grew up in grade school stuttering, literally. For me, I'm confident I would have never done it. And it also is, like, let me conclude by saying this about something that decency. This is a guy born son of immigrants in New York City, raised in Harlem in the South Bronx, graduated from City College in New York. And he rose to the highest ranks not only in the military, but also in areas of foreign policy and statecraft. This is a guy, and we talk about it, who had teachers who looked at this African-American kid and said, you can do anything. So all I want to say to you really is don't underestimate what you do. The good news about y'all is you underestimate it, so you come off in a way that you don't feel self-important. But you're gigantic. You make a gigantic difference. And I learned that when Jill and I would walk through the malls on Christmas time when I was a senator, and kids would go, hey, 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 and I'd wave. And they'd say, no, 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 Dr. Biden. Swear to God. So folks, thank you for what you do. I really mean it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now I've got a few little gifts to give here.
This is for Tabitha.
Tabitha, can you come up here? I don't want to drop this. You want to hand it to her?
No, you. Me neither.
Tabitha, this is
For 2020.
2020. I know, but this apple is worth $280,000. No,
I can retire.
I'm joking, but I want you to have this and let you know how much we appreciate you and all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm not sure if it falls.
Yeah. I'll be really careful.
Okay, good. All right.
And this is Juliana's.
Julianis, come on up here. Julianis, I had a great friend who was a former senator from Texas, and looked at me one day. He's passed away now, and he said, Joe, you'll never get elected president unless you can learn to speak Spanish.
Smart man.
Well, guess what? I decided to hire everybody who spoke Spanish.
Yeah.
But congratulations. It's a great honor, and I'm delighted to have an opportunity to meet you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Have you noticed that as everything around you seems to decline, one thing still grows? It is the power of your rulers. None of their plans and directives have solved your problems or made your life better. The only result has been their increased control over you at the cost of your freedom. Do you know why? You gave them the power.